Across the globe, there are schools that stand abandoned, where the walls hold more than just memories. These decaying structures have become home to the restless spirits of those who met tragic ends within their halls. From eerie whispers to ghostly apparitions, join us as we uncover the terrifying stories of 15 haunted schools where the past refuses to stay buried. 1. Lincoln Heights Jail, Los Angeles, USA. At Lincoln Heights Jail, long abandoned by society, silence is broken only by the occasional metallic clang of a door that was never touched. This place was once a jail, but in its later years, part of it served as a school for troubled youth. The stories say that the inmates who once roamed these halls never left. Some had their lives violently ended in the cells they called home. But it is the children who stir the most fear. On cold, still nights, the sound of small footsteps echo in the hallways, followed by faint whispers, as if they're trying to speak, to warn. In the shadows, figures dart just out of sight, and the lingering smell of old, dusty books fills the air. Some say it's the children who haunt this place, forever trapped between bars and books, never finding peace. 2. Riverside Indian School, Oklahoma, USA. The Riverside Indian School, though long abandoned, still resonates with the sorrow of the children who were forced into its classrooms. The stories passed down from generation to generation speak of students who never returned home, taken by sickness or by hands that were meant to protect them. At night, visitors have heard soft crying, but when they search the empty rooms, there's no one to be found. Some who have dared to explore say they've seen figures in traditional dress walking down the long, barren hallways, only for them to disappear into thin air. But it's the dreams that haunt those who leave. Dreams of children calling out for help, their eyes filled with fear, their small hands reaching out into the void. 3. Pocatello High School, Idaho, USA. Pocatello High School still stands, its brick facade hiding a history of death and despair. There are tales of students who lost their lives within its walls, but their spirits remain, eternally bound to the place of their final breath. A girl in a white dress is said to appear in the restroom mirrors, her reflection clear as day, though she stands nowhere in the room. Students from years past have spoken of lockers swinging open by themselves, and on some nights the lights flicker uncontrollably, as if someone is trying to communicate from the other side. The most chilling story is that of the auditorium. Those who step onto the stage claim to hear applause coming from the empty seats, followed by faint laughter. But when they look, the seats are empty. Empty, except for the shadows that watch. 4. Elkins High School, West Virginia, USA. Elkins High School is nothing more than a skeleton of a building now, overtaken by nature. But deep inside, where the walls are cracked and the floorboards groan, there is something darker. They say the janitor who once worked tirelessly to keep the school clean met a tragic end in the boiler room. Since then, strange occurrences have been reported. Doors slam shut with no warning, the unmistakable sound of footsteps echo through the empty halls, and some have even seen a shadowy figure dragging a mop behind it. The most unsettling story comes from those who dare venture into the basement, where the janitor's ghost is said to dwell. Down there, the air is thick with an oppressive chill, and if you listen closely, you can hear the faint sound of a broom sweeping. But there's no one there. 5. Old South Pittsburgh Hospital and Nursing School, Tennessee, USA. The Old South Pittsburgh Hospital was once a place of healing, but it has since become a place of death and despair. The hospital, which also housed a nursing school, is now a hotbed of paranormal activity. Nurses who never graduated are said to roam the halls, their faces obscured by shadows, their footsteps light as they continue their rounds in the afterlife. The sound of hospital equipment beeping and the faint whispers of medical orders can be heard in the dead of night, even though the building has been empty for years. In the dark corners of the hospital, shadowy figures lurk, watching, waiting. Some visitors have reported being touched or scratched by unseen hands, and there are stories of a phantom doctor still making his rounds. his presence marked by the heavy scent of antiseptic. 6. Pine Haven School, Jamestown, USA. Pine Haven School, long forgotten by the town that once depended on it, is a place where the innocent should never linger. The windows are broken, the playground rusted, but the spirits of children seem to remain. They say if you walk past the school at dusk, you can hear the faint sounds of laughter carried on the wind. But the moment you step closer, everything falls silent. Some have claimed to see small faces peeking from the windows, their eyes wide with curiosity, or perhaps something darker. There are those who swear they've seen children's handprints on the dusty windows, though no living child has touched them in years. Inside, it's even worse. The feeling of being watched is overwhelming, and at times a soft voice can be heard calling out from the empty classrooms. 7. Bour Mountain School, Cambodia. Perched on the mist-covered slopes of Bour Mountain, the remains of an old French colonial town are swallowed by the jungle. Among its relics stands a school, now just a skeleton of cracked walls and shattered windows. The air is thick with a sense of abandonment, but what draws people to this eerie place is not just its solitude, it's the ghostly tales that echo through its crumbling corridors. At night, the mountain fog curls through the broken doors and faint voices can be heard calling through the mist. Some say they belong to students who never made it out of the mountains during the chaos of the French occupation. Shadows flit past the windows, and visitors have reported cold hands gripping their shoulders, only to turn and find nothing. The jungle may have taken back the land, but the spirits of those who once studied here are said to linger, forever lost in the mountain's endless mist. 8. Belvedere College, Dublin, Ireland. Belvedere College in Dublin, once a beacon of learning, now stands silent, its tall spires looming over the surrounding streets. But what was once a place of knowledge is now rumored to be a place of unrest. It is said that in the dead of night the sound of a bell echoes through the empty halls, an old school bell that hasn't rung in decades. Footsteps can be heard pacing the corridors, but when anyone investigates, the halls are empty. Some say it's the restless spirit of a student who never left, forever doomed to wander the school, searching for something long lost. Shadows move in the corners of rooms where no one stands, and occasionally, figures are seen sitting at the desks, their faces obscured by shadow, as if waiting for a class that will never begin. Those who have spent the night here claim they feel watched at all times, as though the very walls themselves are alive with the memories of the past. 9th, Sai Ying Pun School, Hong Kong. Sai Ying Pun School, an imposing structure from the early colonial days of Hong Kong, carries with it a dark and tragic history. Originally intended as a school, it became a place of refuge during World War II, only to be the site of untold horrors. Now abandoned, it is said to be haunted by those who perished during the war. On moonless nights, the eerie glow of candles can be seen flickering in the windows, though the building has been empty for years. Visitors have reported hearing the sound of heavy boots marching up the stairs, and some say they've seen the figures of soldiers patrolling the grounds, rifles slung over their ghostly shoulders. But it's the laughter of children that is the most chilling, small, soft, and far away, echoing through the darkened halls. Those who have dared to stay here overnight claim they've been awoken by the sensation of a cold hand brushing against their skin, only to find the room empty and silent. 10. Old Changi Hospital, Singapore. The old Changi Hospital, once a symbol of hope, quickly became a place of fear and death during World War II. But long after its doors closed, the spirits of those who suffered here have remained. It was once used as a makeshift school for children during the post-war period, but the echoes of war were never far away. Today, the decaying building is infamous for its paranormal activity. Footsteps are often heard, along with whispers in languages long forgotten. Figures in hospital gowns roam the hallways, disappearing into walls, and in the old school wing, the sounds of children playing can still be heard. though the rooms have been empty for decades. The most terrifying encounters are in the operating theaters, where visitors have felt cold hands grip their arms and heard the chilling sound of surgical tools clinking, as if ghosts of doctors from the past still perform their grisly work. 11th. Jaret Sanitarium and School, Virginia, USA. The Jaret Sanitarium, a place that once served both as a mental hospital and a school, stands as a monument to suffering and sorrow. The spirits of the children who were confined here are said to haunt its decaying halls. The school, which was part of the institution, was meant to educate troubled youths, but it became a place of terror for many. Today, the empty classrooms are filled with the eerie laughter of unseen children. Doors open and close on their own, and the sound of chalk scraping on blackboards can be heard, though no one is there. The most chilling reports come from the old dormitories, where visitors have seen the ghostly figures of children standing by their beds, staring out with hollow eyes as if waiting for something, or someone, to come for them. 12th. Post-Town Elementary School, Ohio, USA. Post-Town Elementary School is a place frozen in time. Its playground is empty, its halls silent, but the spirits of the children who once attended the school are far from gone. Visitors to this abandoned school have reported hearing the sound of children laughing and playing, but the playground is deserted. Inside, the classrooms are eerily still, but sometimes, in the silence, a faint giggle or whisper can be heard. People have seen toys moving by themselves, and in some cases, the chilling sight of ghostly children running down the halls has left even the most seasoned paranormal investigators speechless. But it's in the gymnasium where the true horror lies. On some nights, the sound of a basketball bouncing echoes through the empty space, followed by the fleeting shadow of a small figure darting across the court, disappearing into the darkness. 13th. Central State Asylum School, Milledgeville, Georgia, USA. Deep in the heart of Georgia lies the Central State Asylum, once the largest mental institution in the United States. Hidden within its sprawling campus was a school built to educate the young patients. But this place became something far more sinister. Stories tell of students who never left the classrooms, their cries for help lost in the cold stone walls of the asylum. Now abandoned, the school's eerie silence is only broken by strange, unexplainable noises. Visitors report hearing the soft murmur of children's voices coming from empty rooms and the distant sound of desks scraping across the floor. But the most terrifying encounters are said to happen in the old art room, where ghostly figures of children, their faces pale and gaunt, can be seen sketching with invisible pencils. On the blackboard, messages written in chalk appear and disappear without warning, spelling out names long forgotten. Some say the children are still trapped here, forever repeating their lessons, doomed to remain within the asylum's haunted walls. Those who leave often speak of cold fingers brushing against them, or the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes, always from the corners where the shadows grow darkest. 14th. Danver State Hospital and School, Massachusetts, USA. The infamous Danver State Hospital, a Gothic structure that looms over the Massachusetts landscape, once housed the criminally insane. Part of the hospital served as a school for the patients, but learning here was far from normal. It is said that the spirits of the patients, both adults and children, remain trapped within the hospital's decaying walls. The air is thick with the sense of dread, and the sound of shuffling feet can be heard along the endless corridors. Visitors have reported seeing shadowy figures standing in the windows, watching as they approach, only to disappear when they draw near. The classrooms, once filled with lessons of hope, now echo with whispers, voices of the lost, calling out in desperation. Some have seen the ghostly forms of children sitting at their desks, staring blankly ahead, as if still waiting for a teacher who will never return. 15. The Old Royal High School, Edinburgh, Scotland. Nestled in the heart of Edinburgh, the Old Royal High School stands as a haunting reminder of the past. Originally built in the 19th century, this once prestigious institution has been left to decay, its grand halls now silent and empty. The ghostly tales surrounding the school speak of students who never quite left. On foggy nights, the distant sound of a school bell tolling can be heard echoing through the air, even though the bell hasn't rung for decades. Those brave enough to wander its corridors report seeing shadowy figures darting between the dilapidated classrooms, and many have claimed to feel a chilling presence watching them from the old library. The most chilling of stories involves a student who mysteriously vanished without a trace. It is said that her spirit roams the halls, searching for something she lost. Some visitors even claim to hear her soft sobs in the dead of night, pleading for help. As you walk through the crumbling remnants of the old Royal High School, you can almost feel the weight of history pressing down on you, reminding you that the past is never truly gone. These schools, once places of learning, are now haunted by the echoes of the past. Their stories of sorrow, fear, and the supernatural continue to chill the bones of all who dare to visit. If you enjoyed this spine-chilling journey through the world's most haunted schools, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more unsettling tales from the shadows.